Oh, hey, I got busy air drumming there. Sorry about that. Hey, welcome to Caching in the Northwest. This is the official podcast of GeoWoodstock 18 right here in the Great Pacific Northwest. Now, it's Thursday at 9 p.m. Pacific. I'm Chris of the Northwest, and we're going to talk about geocaches and geocachers from here and all around the globe. So while you're searching the trunk of your car for an ice scraper, we'll be caching in the Northwest.
That's right. Thursday, 9 p.m. I'm Wits End, and words are hard. Tonight, we're talking about logging etiquette. You should clear the debris, make sure you replant the forest, all that, manage it well, all those kind of, don't run over the Volkswagen with your logging truck.
That's right. And get the most board feet you can.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think that's what it's about, isn't it?
That's what I'm doing.
Okay.
I don't know. What are you doing?
Don't know. But live audience, what are you doing? Because that's what we want to hear. Nobody wants to hear what we have to say. We want to hear what the chat room has to say. All right. You don't have anything to say, so I'm just going to say that we're going to do a quick reminder. We appreciate the support of all of our patrons and everything that they want to say. They helped keep this podcast coming each and every week. Special thanks to Land Sharks, one of our corporate Denali level supporters. And whether you're new to the game or whether you write a novel for each cache find, a little foreshadowing there, check out landsharks.ca. That's Landsharks with a Z for all your geocaching needs. And our other corporate Denali level sponsor is Gold Country Geotourism. They want to remind you to start planning for when travel opens back up by visiting exploregoldcountry.com. You can also go to facebook.com/exploregoldcountry. You can learn about the geotour, the whole region, and all kinds of fun stuff there. And if you want to know more about supporting this show, click the Patreon link on the cachingnw.com, a website.
Oh, a website, huh? How do you spell that?
THAT.
Gotcha. So now it's time for the glow. That's GLOW. In case for those who are keeping spelling records at home. I don't know. Do people do that? Do you write down the words that you want to learn to spell?
I don't know. I have lots of records, but none of them are spelling lessons.
Oh, okay. No, not those kind of records. Hey, the glow is the geocaching log of the week. Now, whether you read it or whether you wrote it, we want to hear about it because great logs simply make geocaching better. You can send an email or a recording to feedback@cachingnw.com. You can also call into 253-693-TFTC and show us how you glow. Yeah.
And you know who shared a glow this week? Why, and I think I see him in the chat. Wet Coaster. Ooh. Wet Coaster found Disco Inferno.
Burn, baby, burn.
Burn, baby, burn. I knew it was coming. Lob that softball out there for you. This is GC5, Juliet Tango November Bravo. And his log says, back here again for another try. We, that's Greenwords and I, he says, noticed that there have been finds in this cache, so maybe this will be the day. We arrived and parked in the ample parking area here. Walked down the trail to where my phone was telling me Ground Zero, also known as the Death of My Geocaching Dreams Zone. Yeah, been there. There really aren't a lot of places here for the cache to hide, especially when you've been here for at least 3 or 4 hours total of searching over several trips. Yes, this had become yet another nemesis cache. Today, things started out as normal. Pointless searching in all the same places quickly took place. Then the regular researching of those same places took place. Then the researching of where Greenword's search took place because she obviously missed where it was. So I think she's listening.
No. Yeah, we're just reading
I'm
verbatim.
just reading that's it. He says, I then took to reading previous logs, and my 2 remaining brain cells actually connected and came up with a plausible route to follow. Starting my new focused searching was in full throttle now, and I just knew I would find this devious cache. Well, we've been here. There have been several people walking by the trail. Some even asked if we were geocaching. Now that I just knew I'd find it, there were 3 young girls coming up the trail. Great. Time to pretend I'm looking at the local flora and fauna until they walk by. I noticed they'd stopped and they were holding something I thought was a connection to the cache. I went up and introduced myself. The older of the 3 had found this cache last summer, after several searches of her own, and was just going to show her friend the log sheet and that her name should be on it. Sadly, the log had been replaced since she was here. I'm calling this a find, even though, to be fair, I found it in the hand of a young geocacher. Many thanks to Super Dario Land for the hide, and for the 3 young ladies for helping an old guy make the find.
That's right. Yes,
yes. You take them where you can get them sometimes.
Hey, he was in the right spot.
He did sign the log.
Yep. And, that's part of logging etiquette. Okay. Now, I want to get this out of the way because it seems like half the chat is talking about the Giants and the Dodgers.
Yes, it's tied in the 9th inning.
So, folks, it's okay. We'll still be here.
I'll tell you right now, a National League team from California is going to win. Oh.
So the Giants? Maybe I don't know sports like I think I know. You keep saying these words. I don't think you mean what you think they mean. Hey, if you want to join tonight's chat and talk about something other than a baseball game, sorry, I know that probably was the wrong thing to say, but you can use the hashtag log to join tonight's chat. And of course, you can use the hashtag FATAS to bring up something for the after show. You may have to bring it up a time or two. We are without Chat Lackey tonight. We have no idea where the Chat Lackey has gone. If you happen to find a Chat Lackey, would you send him back to the show?
The monkey left, then the Chat Lackey left. Which numbers are slowly
still
dwindling.
here.
We're kind of back to where we started from.
And
back in the days of zombies, run.
Yeah. And the Sark mark.
Oh, boy, there's a throwback. If you remember the Sark mark episode,
You've been listening too long.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh.
All right.
Okay. Hey, we got feedback tonight. Feedback from our episode 427 favorite points. Is it worthy? On YouTube. First, we start with Neil Moore. He says, great show. As a side note, I do enough power trails that I have an abundance of favorite points, and I'm a bit loose with awarding them.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm. And UDAC added that she had also found the Point Reyes Earth Cache.
Ha! Len Monkey would be pleased. You know, if he ever showed up to the podcast again.
Dora Moore says, I know where the Chat Lackey went. He's been out in the pouring rain for much of the day, if that makes you feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope he catches a cold. Oh, wait, no. I hope he comes back next week and helps out again.
Hope he decides not to cache on Thursday nights anymore. That's what it is.
That's right. He should know by now.
Now we wish him well. Hope he has lots of finds. And, we miss him, but he'll be back, I think.
And you know what? Even though we don't have a life, it's okay if other people do.
Yeah.
Just
live vicariously through all the people in the chat room. All right. Any other news here?
Well, there is a bit of news here that I wanted to touch on. That is not geocaching, but it is outdoorsy and it's about finding things, and it just grabbed my attention. It starts off with a California woman. We don't know which one, just a generic California woman.
There's a few of them in California.
Recently discovered a 4.38 carat yellow diamond while visiting Crater of Diamonds State Park in Murfreesboro, Arkansas. Now,
I don't know that state park.
I don't either. I wonder if there's a crater of clubs and hearts and spades as well.
Probably not. I've never been to Murfreesboro, but it wouldn't seem, just judging by the name alone, it wouldn't seem like it'd be that unusual to find a diamond at a park called Crater of Diamonds.
Huh. Well, Noreen Redberg found the gem with her husband. The couple ventured into the state park while on a tour of U.S. national parks, which had taken them to hot springs. I first saw the park featured on a TV show several years ago. When I realized we weren't too far away, I knew we had to come, Noreen said. Arkansas is the only state in the country. Should I just leave it there?
You can take that statement out of context and be incorrect, sure.
Okay. It's the only state in the country that has a diamond mine open to the public, said Arkansas Department of Parks Secretary Stacy Hurst. It's such a unique experience, and visitors make lifetime memories whether or not they find a diamond. Of course, finding a diamond adds to the experience.
Well, yeah.
After a brief search at the park's entrance, Michael suggested the two should move farther into the park, where it was warmer. Noreen spotted the diamond a short time after, and the couple gave it to park officials for examination. When I first saw this diamond under the microscope, I thought, wow, what a beautiful shape and color, said Park Superintendent Caleb Howell. Mrs. Redberg's diamond weighs more than 4 carats and is about the size of a jelly bean, with a pear shape and a lemonade yellow color. Noreen's diamond is the largest found in the park since October 2020, when a visitor found a 4.49 carat yellow diamond. Overall, visitors have located, are you ready for this one? 248 diamonds in the park in 2021. That's an average of 2 per day.
Well, like I said, it is Crater of Diamonds, so.
Yeah. Most common colors of diamonds unearthed at the park are white, brown, and yellow. Now, in case, you're having trouble finding that Christmas gift because we're told to shop for Christmas early, maybe you want to go out to Crater of Diamonds State Park and see if you can find your special person a diamond. This is your official Caching in the Northwest gift giving idea.
Of course, as geocachers, if we were to find a diamond, we'd be tempted to hide it better than we found it. So it wouldn't really benefit us much.
After we write on it with a Sharpie.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Better yet, engrave your name in it. I'll wait.
Oh. With another diamond that you found?
Perhaps.
Do you maybe just sign your initials and the date?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, we're being silly, but tonight we're talking about logging etiquette and what to do with the physical logbooks, the event logs, and the online logs. We've got it all covered here, folks.
We do. Let's see. Let's start with...
How about if we start with event logs?
I was going to say, let's start with event logs.
Okay.
Sorry, because the event log listing is right there, but the Dodger game is over here. So,
I gotcha.
Yeah.
What's the score of the Dodger game right now?
Still tied 1-1.
Okay.
At least on the game day box score it is. It's possible that my feed is slightly behind, so we'll find out. Yes, CRS98 says, hide it back in plain sight, please. I believe he's referring to the diamond.
Yes, I think he is. And
All
what
right.
said, as a geocacher, don't you have to turn in any found diamonds to Geocaching HQ?
No, not necessarily. You do have to give them over to podcast hosts, though.
Oh, yes. Well, now that we told you where to go look, we need 10% of all diamond finds.
That seems fair.
Isn't it?
All right. Well, I'll turn away from the baseball diamond and go over to event logs, because sometimes event logs, well, the logbook can be anything but a book. They could be a baseball.
Yes.
It could happen. Baseball
Have
bat.
I ever signed a home plate? That would make an interesting
That would.
event log, wouldn't it?
I've signed ketchup bottles, fast food bags, personal notebooks from certain lackeys,
Mm-hmm.
hats, all kinds of things like that. And Events are the only kind, to my knowledge, the chat room will correct me, the only kind of geocache log that you don't have to sign a log. There's no requirement to sign a log in order to log the event online.
Well, that's what JCAR says. Per the
There you go.
guidelines, you do not need to sign the event log.
Yeah. Now, most of the time you do. You just write your geocaching name and you're good to go. You don't really have to supply a date or any of the detail unless this is a themed geocache and the cache owner asks you to or you feel like it. But you can, but all you're required to do is sign your geocaching name.
Still 1-1.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, the next type is physical logbooks. This is what you're going to find in a geocache, right? That's the minimum that has to be in a geocache is a logbook.
Dodger scored.
Ooh. Well, I hope we're not spoiling this for anybody who paused the game to watch the
That's why
podcast.
that's why I whispered it. So.
Oh yeah, because you know if they've got
Nobody
the game
would hear
paused, they
that.
can't hear you, right? Yeah. Is that how it works?
Maybe.
What information is required on the log that's stuck inside a container? Well, the absolute minimum would be the cacher's names, maybe just the initials, and the date it was found. Now, large caches usually have large logbooks that allow you to write out a complete account of your finding the cache, as well as that novel that you've just been holding in your heart and waiting to put down. Other logs are barely large enough for your initials. Most cache owners want to know about your experience hunting and finding their cache, and it's quite acceptable to write your story on the physical log, online, or even both.
Yeah. Do you write much in verbose terms on the physical logbook?
Not
and
anymore.
As a CO, do you ever go back and look at your physical log sheet in the cache to see what people wrote?
Yes.
Okay.
If I go out and do maintenance, I do save that log sheet and I do look through it. I don't see anybody signing anything more than their name or initials.
Yeah.
Right?
Oftentimes now it's even a rubber stamp.
Yes. Rubber stamp, stickers. Yeah. Well, thank you, CRS98.
Speaking of stamp,
please don't use a big stamp that takes up many lines on very small logs.
Yes, very small logs, spaces at a premium. And in fact, I don't know if you've mentioned anywhere else in the notes here, but sometimes we will sign just one set of initials for an entire group of cachers.
Well, yes, exactly. GSM times 2 wants to know when was the last time that someone saw anything more than a name and a date at most. Yeah,
I couldn't tell you the last time, but it's been a while. Yeah.
I know on some of the old caches I found, and here in the Northwest, we're blessed in having some of the very old caches. Early in the, they put in a notebook, inch thick or more, right?
Handy dandy notebook.
Yeah, and these go all the way back to 2000. And you can look there. People take, I don't know, half a page and describe their journey to get the cache.
Like big ones like this, Yeah.
Yes.
I've signed some big logbooks.
But even thicker, right? Yeah. Why not put an entire ream of paper into a ammo can? You've got the space.
Yeah, but what are you going to sign it with?
Doesn't matter. Blood.
Usually you could do blood. I have scratched chlorophyll from a leaf with a car key, but typically you use a pen or pencil. Now, you don't have to. The chlorophyll works. Mud. I've done dirt, mud. I don't know that I've done blood. I think that's a biohazard.
Yeah,
I don't think I recommend that. It's not required to use a writing implement to showcase your signature. As we've mentioned, stickers, stamps, those kind of things do it. And here it is in the notes, and CRS98 beat us to it. Sometimes this takes up more room where other cachers could sign. So, that generic statement of be courteous. Don't be a log hog.
Ooh, a log hog. Nice. ST here will sometimes put signed ST on small log sheets. ST would be Seebeck Tribe. Maybe you don't want to put all that. Perhaps you have a long caching name like Chris of the Northwest. Guess what? I tend to sign CNW. But then I put in my log, online log, that I signed it as CNW.
Yeah.
So if somebody says, no, you didn't sign that log, I don't see Chris of the Northwest on here, I'm removing your find.
Yes, because you can be as verbose and long-spoken as you wish to be on the online log, and you're not taking space away from any other cacher.
Interesting. Kitty Quest says, I always include the date if there is room.
I almost always do.
I consider the date as important as the signature.
I don't always if it's a little nano or something, but...
UDEX says, I forget to write the date unless I'm with a veteran cacher or it's an FTF. Here, Doramore says, I don't even write the date anymore. More than half the time I get it wrong. And yes, I go caching in the future or in the past.
Yeah, the last time we were out, we did that.
Yeah. Wait.
I signed the log and you went, wait, that's today? I've been writing tomorrow's date.
Third cache in, I'm like, I don't think I've got the date right yet.
That's okay.
So maybe I shouldn't be putting the date on there. We just move on.
Yeah, a lot of it, like that note said, it depends on if there's room.
Right. Oh, I like GSM times too. I don't know what he agrees with, but he agrees with me.
You don't even care what he agrees with, just so he agrees with you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Let's see. Wet Coaster tells Doramore it's the hazards of retirement, not knowing the date.
Ah. Yeah.
Okay. Where are we?
I think we're up to kids here. Did you already cover the online log here?
No. So here's another question that I've heard asked by some of the new cachers. They say, does the online log have to match what I wrote on the paper log? And not at all. In fact, be far more verbose, far more flowery in your descriptions. Maybe fauna-y too, if you've seen animals. Just toss that out there. Okay. In your online log, most cachers just sign their name and date on the paper log and then compose a much more descriptive narrative online.
I tend to do that. Yeah. I try to write a little more in the log. So, we're talking about saving space in the logs, especially if there's a premium. What if I have my children along and they want to sign it? Is it okay?
No.
Nope. Okay, moving on.
Oh,
oh no. Yeah. Yeah. Sure, they can sign. Anybody can sign the log. You don't even technically have to have an account online to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But sure, get them in the practice of signing it. It's good habits. And down the road, if they don't have their own geocaching account, they may want to create one of their own, and they can go back and say, "Oh yeah, I signed this back. I've got logs show up on my caches from years back. So, yeah, I used to have an account with my parents. Now I have my own account, and I'm going back and adding all these logs on my own account now."
Okay, you can do that.
Yeah.
I went out for a first to find. Well, it wasn't necessarily had to be a first to find. I was in the area and I'm like, nobody's found this. And I located the cache, opened it up, and there were names in the logbook. But if I'm not mistaken, it was something to the extent of, hey, we were Boy Scouts cleaning up this area and we found this, realized it was a geocache and put it back.
Nice.
So I have to look at, they didn't, I don't know. Was I first to find? I was first to log it online. But anyway, so, there, they put something descriptive in the logbook, didn't log it online. In fact, I've known geocachers who just don't log online. They only go out and find it. I don't know if that's the case anymore, but back in the day, let me tell you.
Yeah, I've only known one or two that did that.
One or two, yeah.
And speaking of back in the day, Komokino added that I found sketchbooks in caches and I've left sketches in them. And I remember specifically one cache that I found in my earliest caching days that, while that certainly wasn't a requirement because nobody could disqualify your find, it was a request of the cache owner that, hey, this is some sketches in there. Leave a sketch of your own. Doesn't matter if you're a good artist or not, just leave a sketch. And it was kind of fun to thumb through and see what other people had sketched and see how poor my sketching skills are in relation.
Oh, well, and if you have to compare yourself to Komakino, there's, you don't stand a chance.
No, on many levels.
Well, that could be. I remember one that was a progressive story. You come and add one sentence to the story in the log. So you had to sit there and read the log, read the previous entry so you knew kind of where the story was going. And you added one line and the next person added the next. That was kind of an interesting idea.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
So, okay. Yes. Let your children sign the log. There's nothing wrong with it. Now, that is if there's enough space. Signing a nano probably isn't helpful for the rest of the cachers and probably is not good practice for your child who, depending on how young they are, that's a tiny area to write in. Were you going to say something? Okay.
No.
So, what if the log is wet? What do? It's too soggy for me to sign it. Well, first off, don't panic. You just read the entire book.
I thought, don't you carry a battery, inverter, and hairdryer in your backpack to dry the logs out? Don't we all do that?
Well, I do, yeah, but
oh, okay. No, we don't.
No. If you happen to have an extra log, toss it in there. You go ahead and sign it. You can replace the one that's in there. You can add to it. Maybe it's a larger cache. Maybe you have another Ziploc bag that can, be sealed and hold out the weather for a little bit. I have been known to take the log out, take it into the car, put it in front of the vents and try to dry it out a little bit. That's just if it's damp. If it's soaked and it's just mush in the bottom, you know what? Submit a needs maintenance log.
Yes, please.
They're okay. It's okay to do that. It really does need maintenance, right? There may be something wrong with the container that's allowing moisture in. Get the cache owner out there to not only replace the log, but look over their find.
And sometimes it's quite obvious what's wrong with the container because it's smashed, broken, cracked, missing, whatever.
Right.
Let the CO know as much information as you can.
Yeah.
And
I completely agree. So don't be shy to use needs maintenance when it really does need maintenance.
Yeah.
If the log book is just full, maybe, or getting full, don't put in needs maintenance. Maybe just mention that in your online log.
Mention in the log. That's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You mentioned that the log was full. That was one of my next questions is what if it is full? What if there's no room left? So the log is nice and dry, but there's no room on the sheet to there. What do you do? This is also not a big deal.
No. Find somebody who wrote in pencil and erase it and move on. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Break out your Sharpie and just write over the page on top of everybody else's signature. You could write upside down in the margins. You can be creative. You don't have to be, step by step right down the line of paper. You can write just about anywhere that it fits. Or, as you mentioned, you can add paper. I try to keep a little bit of, these are Write in the Rain notebooks that I showed earlier, and I try to keep just a couple of sheets torn out of one of them in the car because they make great papers to keep in caches. And, then you can add that to the thing. And if you don't have anything, you could take a picture of it if there's ever a question. Prove to the cache owner, hey, look, I found this. But you should mention, in any case, in your log or in a private message to the cache owner that, hey, the log was full, couldn't sign it, log was full, I added the fresh sheet of paper, any of those kind of things.
Wed Coaster says he uses a red pen, so it'll stand out more.
Also an option.
Mm-hmm.
If you fill the entire sheet in red, and then you fill the entire sheet in blue, then if you get a pair of old 3D glasses, you can read each set of logs with the different lens.
Wow. I like that.
You can double the amount of space on the log sheet.
We should try that. It'll have to be a larger cache so we can put both pens in there to start with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I used to love my 4-color Bic pen, but I digress.
Okay.
Speak.
I lost my spot. Okay, so the next is electronic logs or online logs or, logging in an app, right? This is a digital log of some sort or another.
Mm-hmm.
I hesitate to say online because some people don't feel like, well, I'm using an app, I'm not online. Kind of are. IHAM says on a recent trip, we found a nano that we had to sign sideways between other signatures.
Oh, that works.
Yeah. Whoop. Red, blue ink and 3D glasses will get you just the rude words not suitable for young cachers.
Okay.
I don't know what that means, but okay. So don't leave a generic online log. Now we're going to switch to online. So the logs now I'm referring to are all online logs. TFTC. Yeah, it's thank you. At least you're being somewhat polite. Thanks for the cache. But to a cache owner, that's not very thoughtful, right? A thoughtful log conveys that you had a memorable experience and it just wasn't another find. Appreciate the thought and work that went into the geocache. A lot of work goes into hiding a geocache, especially the ones that are extra special. Take time to tell the cache owner that you appreciate about finding or what you appreciate about finding this cache.
Yeah, and that's a good time to give a favorite point.
Oh.
If it's worthy of something special, extra special about it. And for reference to favorite points, go back and listen to a previous episode. But yes, please don't just say thanks in your log online. The cache owners see that, and they get emails when somebody finds their cache, and I'm like, oh, well, that's nice, and then I move on. I really enjoy it when somebody leaves a nice description or even says something that, hey, this is my first cache I ever found. I've had a few of those, and things like that. And it's also I scan them to make sure that somebody hasn't written a needs maintenance in there. Hey, there's a homeless camp right here on top of your cache site, or one of those kind of things. Those are all good. Leave a story, and that's what I was going to say. My mind was running around there. In many apps, I know the app that I often use, you can leave a draft. You can leave a field note, and I'll sometimes do that when I'm out on a trail. I don't want to stop and hold up a group or stop and take the time on the trail. I'll just put drafts in all of them. And they're all flagged. Then when I get back to my computer and have more time and a real keyboard to type on, it's easier to do it there.
That's true. I use a template. A lot of the apps will let you do that. So, it's a standard thing. I leave spaces where I want to put in more of a story. I'll get to that farther down.
Okay.
But UDEC says she's gotten happy faces.
Yeah.
As a gas station tuna, a happy face. That's almost worse than TFTC.
Yeah.
JCar says TFTC is better than period.
It is true. Yeah.
And GSM times 2 agrees TFTC is better than a period, which is common for COVID cachers. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. And as you mentioned, a couple things. You can write about something you particularly liked about the cache, but you can also write about the experience it took to get to the cache. Because an awful lot of the caches that we go to, the cache itself, even if the container itself is nothing special, the journey to get there might have been fantastic. You might have a great story. It might involve, 3 young girls on the trail that had already found it.
That's right.
And you could send that in to 253-693-TFTC as a glow. Oh, wait, that's been done. But yeah,
your story.
That's right.
Your story hasn't come in to 253-693-TFTC.
Yeah.
We need to hear it.
Your story hasn't come in. Your ship hasn't come in either. But as I mentioned, the journey can be fun, and sometimes that's why the cache owner put the cache there in the first place. I have been to places that I never would have even known existed were it not for a cache there. And I go, wow, look at this. This is really cool. And maybe not just the trail itself, or you might have seen something else along the way. You've seen a rare bird. You could find a waterfall full of mosquitoes. You could. Katy Perry could be out geocaching the trail and you run into her and teach her a thing or two.
You could hear her roar.
Yeah, you could.
No? Okay.
I don't think I want to.
She's got another song. I don't know what it is.
Something about fireworks, probably.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Maybe you're watching fireworks together.
Maybe you came in like a wrecking ball, which is a different singer, and I know that, but I don't care.
Oh,
if you see Katy Perry in the trail,
mm-hmm.
Nobody's going to believe you if you don't take a photo.
That's right. And you can upload a photo with your log.
Mm-hmm.
They say a photo is worth 1,000 words.
Who are they anyway?
People who can write 1,000 words.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's not me.
Are they green? Are they green words?
They could be green words.
Okay.
Visually showing part of your experience is fun for the cache owner to see, but don't make the mistake of posting a soiler photo. Yes, I did that. Don't make the mistake of posting a spoiler photo that gives away the hide. Now, I will tell you, when I'm having trouble when I have trouble finding a cache, one of the first things I do is pull up the photos. Right? Oh, look, they were standing right here and facing that way. So that must mean the cache was behind them. Let's go look there.
Yeah, I don't know that it's one of the first things I do, but I do sometimes because I'm out on the trail where cell phone data is not good.
Mm-hmm.
But I do, that is a technique I have used to try to help find it, yeah. Speaking of Katy Perry, she kissed a cache and she liked it.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Okay, we've gone way downhill here. Spoiler photos, not necessarily the best idea, but maybe something, there's a hint. Just give an idea. I've even, when I've taken pictures of the log or the container or something, have walked, 50 meters down the trail, specifically to not be a spoiler or to
throw off people like
be
me.
Kind of a decoy, yeah. Things like that.
Oh, you use the word decoy. Okay.
Now, as far as other things you could include in the cache, you could talk about, like we've talked about the scenery. You could talk about who you ran into on the trail, the flora, the fauna, the merry weather. You could also list details about the cache itself or about your experience finding it. We've talked about letting them know if the log sheet is full, damp, moldy, missing, whatever. But you could talk about the cache in general. Is the cache in good condition? Did you have any troubles finding it right away? You say, oh, look, I spotted it right away because clearly the camouflage that you used to hide this has been muggled or has worn out or whatever. A lot of people, not me, but a lot of people hide a lot of caches. I have only a few hides. I'm pretty lame in the hiding end of things. But a lot of people have a lot of caches. And while they are responsible cache owners and go out and do cache maintenance, they can't always get to all their caches all the time. And it's really helpful for them to hear from you that just saw it and know that, hey, everything is in good shape. Log isn't dry, is in good shape. Log is damp and full. Log is, log container, cache container. The lid's cracked and it's getting moisture or something. I go, I need to get out there before the next rainstorm, which is in about 10 minutes and most of the times around here, and do some cache maintenance. So that helps.
Right. Alarobrick says, my standard style is to write something for the day or set of caches, copy paste to each, but add anything specific to each. Wet log, nice view, crazy dog.
Yeah.
Could be the one he brought with him, but
Could be. That's almost exactly what I've done is copy paste in my app in the drafts. who I was with, what we were doing. I don't get super detailed with, this is cache number 6 of 9 finds today or whatever. But yeah, something descriptive like that that's unique to the day.
Wet Coaster says the same thing to describe the state of the cache. For example, only one tab on the lock and lock lid is still there and the lid is cracked. Most COs want to know that sort of thing. GSM times 2 says, my suggestion to those who have a copy paste of the day, make the comments about before the make the comments about the cache before the copy paste section.
I can see that, because if you're a CO and you're getting 12 emails and you see them all starting the same, you may not read down to read the rest of the log. That's a great tip there. You can also, it's also helpful to share what you left behind or picked up. Because sure, that if you took a trackable or dropped a trackable, the trackable page is going to list where it is and those kind of things, or even the cache page is going to list the inventory. But it's also just helpful to say, hey, this is in there. Or I've seen it when I've been going to a cache and seen a previous log that says, I dropped off a XYZ travel bug. And I was looking for one of those. I'm going to go
an ironing board.
Yeah. I was thinking more of a yellow Jeep, but sure.
Okay. Dora Moore says, I like to mention hazards I encounter close by, like a barbed wire fence, stinging nettle, wasp, maybe an electric fence, whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just, you toss that in there. And
weapons of mass destruction.
Really
people giving...
You mentioned a homeless camp.
People giving false directions from a riding lawnmower.
Yes.
All things to consider.
Yeah. Free donuts. Anything you happen to come across.
And of course, being the polite cachers that we are, thank the cache owner for placing the geocache. They didn't have to put that cache out there. And you didn't have to go find it. That's right. And we've mentioned it before, but I'll say it again. If you really like the cache, if something really spoke to you about it, really jumped out, leave a favorite point. Thank the cache owner, all that.
If you're doing 25, 50 caches in a day and you go, oh, wow, that one really, that's the one I remember. Give it a favorite point.
Yeah.
You can do it at any time. You don't have to do it just when you log.
True. Yeah, I have gone back and added, I meant to put a favorite point in that cache, and I put it in there later.
Here's a great question I think we'll bring up later. UDAC wants to know, is anybody upvoting logs? We have that option now.
We do.
That you can say this was helpful or creative.
Yeah, I haven't actually done that. I'm trying to remember if it's in the app I use or not. It probably is. There's a lot of things in the app that go, I didn't know I could do that. I don't spend a lot of time at the geocaching website. And I know you can do a lot of stuff there at the website. But that's a great tip, because that is a good thing to do.
Yeah. Since the apps have gotten so much better, I use the website less and less.
Yeah.
So I want to hear, do you guys upvote logs? Now, while you're thinking about that, I'm going to jump on to also in your online log, describe what made the geocache fun to find. Whether the cache leads you to an amazing view, it's a clever container, or a creative puzzle to solve. Leaving a great log can be very validating for the cache owner. Now, future people who come and look, those other cachers, may read the logs and get a better idea of what they would enjoy about the cache, or maybe that little hint that's going to say, oh, of course, that's what the puzzle meant. Right? Without giving it away, but giving another angle to it. Maybe you wrote a very funny log, right? You added humor, or you were sincere. Some people I know can do haiku or poetry and put that in their log. In fact, we've read several glows that were poetry.
Yes.
Well, you, Wits End.
I have not been the only glow reader ever.
No, but by far you've read more.
Okay. Haiku is a poem that doesn't make sense, or doesn't have to make sense, or Or it doesn't rhyme or have to rhyme or even make sense.
Refrigerator.
Yes.
Why refrigerator? I don't know. It just sticks out. It
Yes.
fits.
It's good. My favorite haiku of all time.
Hey, we've got people who have responded about upvoting logs. And CRS 98 says yes, he has.
Yes.
Just Finding Our Way has not. GSM times 2 just upvoted one the other day.
Ah, there you go.
Dora Moore says rarely uses it, but she does look for it when looking for help from previous logs.
Oh, okay.
Chosen 1978 says no. RE 54321 says yes. Kitty Quest says, I think I used the upvote feature once, maybe twice, not in a very long time. Komakino says, do you get notified if someone gives you a great story or helpful on your log? And the answer is no, you do not. You have to go back and look. IHAM says, I rarely upvote because I'm not usually on the website. Nothing against the idea, but out of sight, out of mind. Peach says, I've only used...
Peach of Washington. I was helping you.
Peach of Washington says, I've only used it once or twice, but I always read back through them when it might be a difficult find.
Yeah.
Seaback Tribe says, I haven't used it yet, but I should. So there you go. About 50% we got of yes and no's.
Yeah.
Well, 100%.
I need to make an effort to go back and revisit upvoting logs. Because it'd be a good thing to do.
Yeah. So that next time you have trouble finding that cache and you start looking through previous logs, you should mark them helpful if they were. Right? That could help the next person.
Yes.
Who should be out there reading all the logs anyway, whether they're helpful or not. Now, I started off saying that you can use a template when logging a cache. I say that because I do. And apparently so do others. And that's in no way to, and by no means to discount the quality of the cache. It just allows me that form to fill in to say, yes, I've done these things. I want to mention, I talk about the reason I'm out caching, or maybe something special on the way to the cache, right? Hey, Wits End and I are out caching for the current promotion. Right? Hey, that's the reason we're out caching today. That's the reason we came and found your cache. I tell them how I sign the log, because Chris of the Northwest is what they're going to see on their computer screen, but on the log, they're going to see CNW. So I let them know that, hey, this is how I sign the log. And I thank them for the cache because, they did do the work to put it out. And I always report on the condition of the container and the log, right? The container could be in good shape, but the log is wet. The log could be completely dry, but the container's crushed.
Yeah.
Or everything's fine, which is most of them. Everything's fine.
3 bells and all is well.
IHAM just called us out. So do the host upvote logs selected as glows? Ooh. No.
Should. Great tip.
That is a great thing. I have been sent glows and saying, oh, this is a great one. Look for so-and-so's log on this cache. That could be hard to find, right? That could be several years ago, and all the logs don't load at one time. So,
right.
Or, I'm usually sent like, so-and-so found this cache and here's the log. Going back and trying to find it. You know what? I'm making excuses. I should do that.
There's also some discussion. She says, how do you use upvoted logs in the field? And that was one of the questions I had. Is I don't know if they show up in the apps.
Filter on those in any way?
I don't know. Great question.
Well, let's do a little online research right now. I'm opening up Cachely, and there it is. So here's a log, or here's a cache. I'm looking at logs. And yes, I can filter by newest, helpful, or great story.
Okay.
Well, order by. So if I order by helpful, I don't see any change. What if I order by great story? No. So I want to say none of these have been
Upvoted.
upvoted that way. But I just chose one cache. So in Cachely, yes, you can sort by helpful or what did I say? Good log.
Mm-hmm.
Komakino wants to know upvoting. Is that the helpful option? Yes. Helpful or great story. That's it. Thank you. Helpful or great story. Kitty Quest says, for a tricky one, it's helpful when a more recent finder mentions the log by cacher name that was helpful to them. So you know whose log to look for. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I can't tell you, I found the answer in previous logs. No, I found the answer in Wits End's log. Oh, yeah, thank you. J-Car says, I go to the website when in the field and check helpful. It's come in handy. So more so when north of the border.
Okay.
So anyway, I just gave you my recipe for a 4-line geocache log template. Feel free to use it.
All right. I think we've exhausted all the...
And the game is over.
Yes, it is.
Yes. And one sports team scored more points than the other sports team.
Imagine that.
Mm-hmm. So thus the game is over.
A National League team from California won the game.
And some people are cheering and other people are cursing.
Absolutely.
There.
Okay.
Did I spoil anything?
Not for me. I saw the score, final score a while back.
The Seahawks aren't playing football during the podcast, which is a nice little touch.
They
were last week, and it didn't do them any good. But they were ready should the power go out in the stadium. Their neon green uniforms would have, lit up the playing field.
Yeah. Yes, they would.
Yeah.
And in other sports, the Kraken is now 1-1.
Which we could never have said before, right?
That is right.
Is this their first win or their first loss?
Tonight was their first win of the regular season.
Okay.
They lost the first game in Vegas on Tuesday, I think.
They lost the first game ever.
Yes. And they won tonight in Nashville.
Yay.
All right. Well, that's logging. I think
that's logging.
Discussed logging well.
There were mentions of Project GC. There's a option there to count the average character in your log, your longest, your shortest, yada, yada. And then you can also get an author badge at Badge Gen. So, yes, that's why J-Car says he looks north of the border, because Canada had upvoting before the U.S. and the rest of the world did.
Yes, they did.
Mm-hmm. And now that we've caught up, we apparently don't use it much. Isn't that the American way? Now, hey, folks, thanks for tuning in. We hoped you enjoyed this episode of Caching in the Northwest.
That's right. And just like earlier, I want to thank Land Sharks and Gold Country Geo Tours. They are corporate Denali level sponsors. Landsharks.ca is the outdoor adventure and geocaching store. Check them out online. They do ship online orders daily. And for absolutely amazing geocaching adventures, check out exploregoldcountry.com.
They probably have good logs on their caches.
I bet they do.
Because some of those are a journey to get to, like walking through a wall of mosquitoes.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Done that.
Hey, but we also want to thank our other faithful Denali level supporters. That's Land Sharks, Gold Country, GeoTour, Team Squirrel, Groovy Owl, and Cachely. If you want to know more about supporting the show, click that Patreon link on the geocaching.com website.
Or the cachingnw.com website.
Caching NW.
Yeah. You said
I do that a lot.
geocaching.com.
I don't know why.
I don't know if there's a Patreon link on the geocaching.com website, but I don't
No,
think it would
there
help
should
us
be
if there
for
was.
cachingnw.com.
Yes.
Cachingnw.com. Let me say it 25 more times so I remember. Cachingnw.com. You know, Doramore knows what to do.
Yeah, Limax too.
And 3 hams in a rose.
T. Sayer.
CRS 98.
Alarobrick.
UDEC.
Sprouter.
Peach of Washington.
RE54321. Thanks for joining us in the chat tonight.
Wino Seattle.
Broncos fan for life.
Team Noltex.
The Geo Travelers.
Antaeus.
Cattle Barb.
MC. 3 Cats.
On a Boat.
Logwork.
Kev MacD.
Gas Station Tuna.
Subway Mark.
Seabeck Tribe.
Keats 94.
Just finding our way.
Genies.
Tick Magnet.
Camp Clan.
Acker Doc.
Trexer Zero.
Oh, in the chat tonight, Wet Coaster.
You Talks to Rocks.
And Greenwords.
Katie Quest.
Kid Vegas 19.
B Pendragon.
M Nerve.
Korsgat.
Segehov.
GSM times 2.
GeoNavPros.
LG 9000.
Boomer 365.
Fairwood West.
Donners.
And Skyhawker.
Skyhawker's our newest patron. Thank you, Skyhawker.
Thank you, yeah.
And folks, it's time. You've waited all this time. I know what you're waiting for. You're waiting for this new segment that I call At Last. Well, we
Yes.
call it At Last. Listeners ask some things. And now we get to answer. So if you'd like to ask some things, call into 253-693-TFTC or email your question to feedback at cachingnw.com.
I've heard of that place.
Now, kind of like last week's, this one goes on. If you could only visit one famous landmark, which one would it be?
That's a good question. There's so many places I'd like to see.
Oh, so many.
But if I could only pick one, and assuming that I could actually get there and everything was, then I would pick the Apollo 11 landing site.
Oh, that's exactly what I was going to say. I was like, well, that would really, that would get you into space, right? On the moon. That would cover a whole bunch of things.
You'd be higher than William Shatner in altitude.
That's right. Captain Kirk finally got into space.
Yeah.
That's
We're a couple of nerds. We think alike.
I really didn't think you were going to answer that. Okay. or answer that particular one. It's like, yeah, that's what I would want to do.
Just popped in my head.
Yep. So do you have a backup? I don't know anything.
Well, like I said, there are so many of them. There are some incredible landscapes and landmarks and seascapes I'd love to see in Australia because, as we've talked about for many years, I'd love to go to Australia. At least I used to always want to go there. Now that I see the news
my
and the
backup
political climates and everything there, but
we've been podcasting too long. Do you know what my backup was?
Great Barrier Reef.
Rock.
Oh yeah, well that was right up there too. But the Great Barrier Reef is also up there.
What qualifies as a landmark, or what is the definition of it? I don't know. Anything you would want to see. Well, I was going to say on the Earth, but we've already expanded beyond that.
I think it's any place that you can define just by name. Without having to define coordinates or address or anything. If you just said the Eiffel Tower, okay, well you can navigate to the Eiffel Tower without knowing what streets to take or flights to, whatever. That kind of thing.
Chosen 1978 says, LOL, come to New Zealand.
I would love to come to New Zealand.
Yeah.
I have friends that have visited there and loved it.
Right. Now, that being said, New Zealand is not a landmark.
No, but there are
spots in New Zealand are.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to throw it back to you, Chosen. One spot in New Zealand. Where should I go?
There you go.
Keats says there's a big fiddle in Sydney, Cape Breton. Been there though.
Okay.
Is it out in the woods? No, that's just where Keats goes.
This is the world's deepest pit somewhere in Utah.
Ooh.
Biggest
Death
ball of
Valley.
twine in Minnesota.
Oh, man. That'd be worth seeing, wouldn't it? I have to go buy me a miniature ball of twine at the
That's
gift
right.
shop.
Greetings from the twine ball. Wish you were here.
Oh, hey, folks. Thank you for joining us and taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Your support helps keep the quality shows coming. If you like the show, please click the Patreon link on the cashingnw.com website. And if you didn't like the show, let us know what you wanted to talk about, because we'll do it. In either case, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and more. Subscribe and give us a thumbs up or even a review. You can call into 253-693-TFTC and leave us a comment, ask us a question, or you know what? Help us with a new template for our logs any time of the day or night. And of course, you can email us at feedback@cashingnw.com. Join us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Pacific for a live show and chat. This show is produced by Chris Umfenauer, Jim Paulwitz, and Jay Kennedy. It's licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, copyright 2021 by Chris Umfenauer. Folks, I ask you to stay tuned for the after show. So we don't have a chat, Lackey. So if you've got something to say.
No, I did
Say
notice that GS sometimes chooses Captain Kirk got into space as high as Alan Shepard did in 61. I am not impressed.
Ooh. Chosen came back and said, that's so hard. I agree. There's so many landmarks.
Yeah. There's a lot of,
I was looking, I was like, well, if I'm going to go to Australia, I've got to take time to go to New Zealand, right? For us in the US, that's quite a trip to get there. So we may as well add on a little extra time and visit both. And boy, I don't know if I could do either justice, but you have to go again.
I'd like to go to McMurdo Station.
Oh, on Mount Everest?
No, McMurdo Station's on Antarctica.
Oh, in Antarctica, yes. Have we done that mountain yet? What's the mountain on Antarctica?
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, Gas Station Tuna wants to know: did Scotty get into space first?
Yes, his ashes went up in a rocket a while back, but he didn't come back and talk about it much.
Well, he wasn't much of a talker. But if you badmouth the Enterprise, he'll fight you.
That's right.
Yeah. Hey, folks, thanks for joining us this evening. And until next week, get out and get caching in the Northwest.